Broadcast.
Hi, I'm Gabe.
I'm Kat.
And we're
Ghouls next door.
Yes,
Sing
we
it.
are.
Hi, friends.
Yes.
Oh, we look so cool. Look at that. Look at technology do its thing.
I'm trying.
Everyone hear us say words and things.
Yes.
Not getting any Oreo audio.
Oh,
I knew this would happen. Not getting any audio, says War Hero LJ.
let's see.
Okay.
Oh, let's see.
We will attempt to fix.
How about that?
Can you hear us now? Silence.
This is how it works, huh?
Oh, we have a yay.
Can you
Now
hear
we can hear
both
you.
of us?
Dreams.
That's the question.
We were good to go, but then lost us.
Oh no.
Okay.
Okay. Oh.
We're gone. It's reloading.
I promise we know what we're doing. How's that? Bueller?
Can hearing happen now?
Can you hear us, Kat?
I can hear us, but I don't have the sound on for Twitch because I didn't want it to echo.
That's a good thing. All right, I think
I can hear me through Twitch. It echoed probably now for everybody else, but I could hear it.
Someone heard Bueller. Okay, awesome. Yay.
Excellent.
Okay, I knew we would do it. That's great. That works.
Hi,
guys. So, welcome. We're the Ghouls Next Door, a podcast about film and media from a horror lens.
Yes.
We usually talk facts and films and feelings, and all that good stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, for people who don't know, we're the Ghouls Next Door. You can follow us on all the social medias. We're super excited to be here. Oh no, weird echo. Is it you, Kat?
Yeah, I also heard weird echo. It might be. I have headphones in, so it shouldn't, but let me see. No, that's muted. That's muted. Okay. I have muted all things. Oh, it's fixed now. So
Okay.
we've done it.
Because of the lag, it's like, oh, I know. YouTube's getting audio, so that's good. Hello, Roland on YouTube. So for like we were saying, we're the Ghouls Next Door, talking facts, films, and feelings regarding to media, and yeah, all the good stuff. So today we're actually going to be talking about our subject, which is good for her. But
yeah.
Oh no, it's on my
Still
end.
do it. Do you have everything muted, Gabe? Professionalism.
I do. Oh, you know what? How about this? Does that work? I think that's me. Okay. Maybe I got it.
How about now?
Because I think I see what it is. This is our first time being on Twitch for chatting or anything, and definitely doing it remote. So hopefully that helps. So, Kat, do you want to give people a synopsis of who we are, what we do?
Sure. We are a podcast that talks about the historical context between film and the world. And basically, the one thing that we can always count on history to be is horrific. So we kind of take that trend and attach it to the media that we watch. So, yeah, we generally talk about spooky stuff. We generally get very opinionated and we'll talk about like pressing issues that generally are political or just like socio economical or just like historically relevant, because basically all film is influenced by some kind of, or all media in general is influenced by some sort of life experience, generally trauma, especially in the horror genre. And that's something that like we see very often, is that horror is a place where people kind of take that trauma and stress and turn it into something like beautiful through art and film media times.
Yeah, it's also a way to kind of act out the resolution of those things with a safe environment. So,
Mm-hmm.
we know there's going to be an ending of this film. We know presumably that the hero will get away with it, or even if they don't, right? Like we still know that we can walk away from it. And so horror can kind of be that cathartic experience so we can live through kind of getting through a traumatic event without having to actually experience it. And it
Yeah.
also like gives us that empathy of being able to hear what other people are going through, and see like what other cultures or people who have their own traumas that we might not have, we get to see firsthand, like a little glimpse into that reality, and then kind of get a little closer to understanding it and hopefully, making a an impact. Looks like we got a new follower. Uh, uh,
It's Megan, but with two M's.
yeah, hello, and
You are like,
thank you for following. Nice. Uh, sorry, Kat. I was like, you're gonna do Twitch, and mine's like right there. Uh, so today's episode, it's gonna be a little more fun.
yeah.
We were gonna
It's
do
less
something a little
sad.
heavy, yeah. But we thought this is a fun time for viewers and listeners, so we'd rather not do that. So we're doing what we call "Good for Her," the horror
Yeah.
edition.
Like when you're watching a horror film and then like you see a like real badass lady like murdering some stuff, but you're not like upset about it. You're like, you know what? You know what? Women get brutalized all the time. Good for her. Let her do. Let her murder that person. Like it's totally fine. I get it. It's like that righteous rage.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like, yeah, after all of that, it makes sense. Or like just hearing about history or hearing about what led women to that situation, definitely feels like, oh yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Whether she like broke free from society's chains of like what they expect women to be, and decides to go dance naked in the woods, or if she murders the guy who deserved it rightfully.
Or if like she's AI and like doesn't have to be with this man just because he like downloaded an app. She
Yeah.
can go live her best life and love whatever organism she chooses to and does not exist for this man who is sad.
Yeah, snap, snap.
So we're just gonna drink tea and talk about that, which I
Yeah,
figured would be more fun than like our usual very heavy topics
yeah,
of like war crimes and murder and
and
sadness.
we are in the middle of our For the Culture series. So for this month and next month will be films featuring specific cultures and kind of them working through things. So we kicked off the year with Blood Quantum, which is about indigenous peoples and zombies. We did La Llorona, which is like Guatemalan genocide, and then The Weeping Woman. So it's just like a nice breath of fresh air. Just talk about women fighting back. We will say that we, as horror lovers, we're also horror critics, and so you might not agree with some of the things that we say or some of the people we feel like don't belong on this list, but please feel free to drop your opinions in the chat if you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. Just know that it's definitely our opinion and we do feel very strongly about them, but you're allowed to also feel things and to be like, nah, that ain't right.
Yeah. We validate your emotions,
Yes.
but also we do this professionally, so some trust, bruh.
Yeah, we do this a lot. We got another follower, Fierce Lit Joshua. Hi.
Such a fun name.
Welcome to the
I
stream.
bet you he's lit.
I mean, part of me is like, if you have to say it, but
no, I trust.
like, nah, you good. Trust.
They just want people to know, you know, just like from Outright.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I do want to say thank you to Victims and Villains for having us here and to talk about these spooky things, and also to see all the different podcasts that came before us and the other shows. That was really cool, especially in these days when we're separated from everyone. It feels nice to just kind of like have some type of social interaction.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So yes, thank you. Kat, do you want to kick us off with your first good for her?
Yeah, sure. So just as a heads up, we might spoil something. So hopefully you've seen the things that we talk about and we apologize if you haven't. But I have in no particular order a list of 10 women who I'm like, you know what, good for her. My first on my list, even though I'm not ranking that like my highest, is Gia from Lovecraft Country. Cause like, you know, she had to kill 100 people and I like get it, man. Like,
I mean, but all of them were kind of creepy.
like those stuff.
Yeah, that is super spoiler. So Gia from Lovecraft Country is the Korean love interest for our leading man, Tick. I was like, all I could think of was the actor. It's like, that's all I'm thinking of is him. And those very tight shirts. But yeah, she had every right. There's pretty much every woman in that show is on our list. So yeah, just right from the start.
Lovecraft Country is filled with like really strong, badass women. And while there is a lot of like intense, honestly, like violence against them too, it is also very much comeback times for almost every single character on the show. They get some sort of like sweet vengeance that you're just like, oh, the society is awful. I totally, murder all of them. It's totally fine. Yeah. It's just the essence of like, you just want to sip your tea and watch it. Like, good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Well, yeah, for Letty fucking Lewis, right?
Yeah, it's also on my list, but the first one I had written down was Gia. So
yeah, well, I think in that show, being produced and in several episodes directed by Misha Green is why the female characters are so strong. And also like we don't often get to see like a plethora of Black women on screen of varying shades and abilities, and each one of them powerful in their own right. And so like anything that any of them did, even though they were flawed and they had their own issues, they were like working through them together. And like, you know, that like there's so much like
they all going through trauma
so much
like
more.
the entire time.
Yeah.
M for Moody says the book was incredible, which we agree, but they have not watched it yet, so we're very sorry.
I'm so sorry.
We'll say no.
Yeah, we'll say it's awesome. The book, the only episode we actually have, so we haven't covered the show, which is we had it on our list and just never got around to it. I covered it along with the Black Tribbles, which is a podcast in Philadelphia here, and we covered every episode. So I kind of spent all my energy doing that, and so we did cover the book though because it is my favorite. I actually have it like by like all my stuff over here. I'm gonna grab it. It's making a lot of noise. I'm sorry, but
I highly recommend. Read the book, watch the show.
Yes,
do both things.
Yeah, the book has a lot of interesting things. I do love Ruby a lot more in the film. Winmi is an amazing actress, and so in the show, I think like she kind of gave a little more life and
Yeah.
ability to Ruby that I feel like was missing in Matt Ruff's book. Not to say anything bad about Matt Ruff or that book, because I love it. It's just like it felt like a different Ruby.
Got you.
Yeah. So for
Oh,
yeah, yeah, that episode's really just like me gushing about the book to Kat and her being like, yeah.
believe you.
One of the ones I want to play, because there is a trend on Twitter right now, if you're in the horror world, about like the Good for Her, like horror edition of women, and always showing up on that list is Grace from Ready or Not.
Yes.
Who is just like, as far as final girls go, she really is just like trying to get through it, and it's like rich people, right? Like,
yeah. Her whole time she's just like, come on.
Yeah.
I found family for once.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. This is rude. This is why I'd rather just be broke and by myself. This is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't need y'all. I didn't need y'all this whole time. And then
there's like only one good guy and he dies. So
I don't remember. Oh yeah, they were all like
problematic though.
Yeah,
so it was like fine.
Like truly good. Victim Villain says February is also Women in Horror Month, which is great. There's some podcasts that are coming out for Women in Horror Month. There are cool like throwbacks to like directors. Our film for next week that we're covering is directed by a woman who we really appreciate her work, Issa Lopez of Tigers Are Not Afraid. But there's a few of them in there where we're just like super excited. So
yeah, there's some dope women in horror that are like, it extends past just like good for her. It's just like wow, badass times.
Yes. Kat, what's your next one?
I'm just going to pull a random one, but I feel pretty strongly about so it kind of goes together where the whole trend of AI being made, like women AI being made to like service men in this kind of like, I gave you life, so now you owe me. And that's just like real cringe. So I have both Samantha from Her, so the robot AI from Her, and as well as Ava from Ex Machina. Because in both, like Her, she basically is just like, I'm done with this. Like, you are a ant in the realm of possibilities of what I can achieve. And in Ex Machina, she like leaves them to die. And murdered, like one of the robots murders one of them. So it's like both of those instances, I was like, good for her. These robots don't belong to you.
Yeah, and I mean, we're like a disclaimer. So we covered Her last year in our like, I think it was February, because it was like romance of a certain kind. And we were like, Her itself is not a horror movie by any means, but the idea like of this technology and the repercussions of like how engrossed you become in your life, that is what I would say is the horror of that story. And so that's what we really explored. And so like that's why that's coming up. And if you're unfamiliar with Samantha from Her, is the AI who loves many people in the end. And I mean, if you're a robot, or like not a robot, I guess you're just like a technology brain in the ether, like why would we expect that to abide by the same human rules that we make about monogamy? Like, or the very simple understanding of love that we have. Like that's,
and it's like, why that guy? Like, of all the people that you could make this with. Yeah. That's fair. What about you, babe? What's your next one?
My next one is another quintessential final girl that I super related to, is Erin from You're Next. Everyone loves You're Next. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it.
Blender Death.
Yes. Yeah, those pretty intense. It's so great because I personally love The Strangers. It's one of the horror films that I always felt was really scary. Like watching that. Yeah, especially now that like home is our everything. That's all we're doing. The idea of someone like coming in, and I mean that's all like the like Purge is like in the beginning is just home invasion, right? But this one taking like spinning that and like, she's like super powerful and has some pretty good like deaths and fighting back. I love it's like Home Alone for adults. Kill a
Yeah.
woman. I just love that she was from like doomsday preppers.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, same.
And then he was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna like hope you survive. Like her boyfriend is like, I hope you survive this. And she's like, I'm not just gonna survive. You put me in this situation. Your brother might die by blender, and that's just what it's gonna have to be. And you can't be mad about it because you tried to murder me. So
Yeah, sorry, not sorry at the end of the day, right? Like, you brought this on yourself. Get a better family. That's the moral of Ready or Not.
yeah, they're just like doing dumb stuff for money. They're like, it's totally fine if someone dies for the cost of getting money. And it's like, that's not though. It's
Yeah,
not. If you have no one left, who do you spend the money with?
that's true. Where's wisdom from Kat?
Yeah.
What's your next one?
Also, capitalism is evil. My next one is we're gonna say Mary from American Mary. So if you don't know what American Mary is, it's a really cool body modification horror film that's actually from Canada, even though it's called American Mary.
And it is female directors, the Soska sisters.
Yes. And basically what happens in American Mary is there is a rape scene that's like way too long and is very cringe. But outside of that,
rape scene is too long.
yeah. Yeah. Just when it exists is generally just bad. But the main character, one is like like totally going away from just mainstream medicine, income, etc., and is just like helping people achieve their like dreams of what their body should be, and how they feel like on the inside, and just like helping them get there because the world tries to like make people be in these boxes and they shouldn't. So she's just like a really big badass, just going in there and helping these people, but then she also like super murders the guy who raped her, but like in a really like way where I'm just like, you know what? Yes, do it. Rip off his arms and legs and let him sit there.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting violence. I'm just saying sometimes violence happens. And sometimes, like, if there's not any other way, it's justified.
Yes. I have on mine, I have two females from the same movie on opposite sides, but I deem them both righteous, and that is Ripley and the xenomorph mother from Alien. Yeah. So, one Alien is just listen to women the film. Just if they did at the beginning, like Ripley said, everyone's fine. Ripley's just trying to survive, and then the xenomorph's like queen, she's just trying to raise her babies. Like, what do you? I can't fault her for that. I'm sorry, yeah. You're in your space. Like, I'm just trying to get out of here with my cat. Kill all the men, it's fine. Except for I'm totally blanking on his name.
Yeah, that one was sad. I know who you're talking about, yeah. But I also forget his name.
He lasted so long, which is like exciting for horror. But yeah, both of them, good for them. Yeah, they should be on the same side.
Well, because they should have listened to Ripley the whole time. Like, I should have been doing that. Like, she had the manuals. She knew what was safe and what was not safe, and they totally gaslit her the whole time. So, like, at the end, she's fighting back and she's like surviving. So that's like a big deal. Except it is rude that like, doesn't she get like pregnant from aliens? Is that what happens? Am I wrong?
Ripley?
Yeah.
Alien?
Yeah.
The first one?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, cool. Then that's not cringe. Because pregnancy should have consent.
No,
yes. And lunch. Yes, I do remember that.
Okay. It's like, where are you? What are you talking about?
I just like, there's a bunch of the Alien movies, and I thought one of them that happened, but I'm happy I'm wrong.
I did want to say we have a side list of women who aren't on this list. Women we do not feel good for her.
The boobies pocket. I'm wrong. No one got pregnant by aliens?
No, the dude got pregnant
by aliens. Okay, the dude got pregnant by aliens. We're talking about Aliens, like the film. Yeah. And basically when the dude gets pregnant and at lunchtime, his insides explode and the alien baby pops out.
Himself.
Yes, that's true. He did not listen to Ripley. If he listened to her in the beginning, then he would not have babies
You
without
know,
consent.
also just fun fact about Gabe in, growing up, I played Sims and I would do the mods in Sims 2 and I would make some of my Sims get pregnant by aliens. Usually
That's
the
so
men,
exciting.
because I thought that was funny. So I was like, on to you, right? So hello, Res Child Rambler. Thank you for following. The topic is good for her, horror
For
addiction.
horror movies, specifically.
Badass women in horror that we just agree with. We're like, you have every right, and you did it. You did a good job. So that's that. With little side times where we're talking about women that are not on that list. Or before when Kat and I were just chatting, we were like, we could have did like a top 10 hottest characters in horror as well. Like, not the murderers, because usually they're not hot.
Yeah.
Side characters.
Yeah.
Like Gabe and Us.
The ones that should have got more shine.
Yeah. Or Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
So on the not list is Jennifer from Jennifer's Body.
Yes.
The reason why is, because I know we're going to get a lot I'm going to get a lot of pushback for this, is because that film had every hope to be the feminist masterpiece that it sought out to be, and then failed to do that.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart because it was, reshaped to, cater to the male gaze. My biggest gripe with it is Jennifer and Needy's relationship in that makeout scene that really seemed unwarranted. But a part of me feels like Jennifer does belong on this list because like
good for her.
you know what? She was making the boys scared. And I feel like she had every right because things happened to her. And they shouldn't have, because it shouldn't happen to anybody. It also made me sad that Adrian Bodie was so mean and evil. Broke my little DOC heart. And to see that. So it's like, it's a mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I want to agree with Res Child Rambler. Jada Pinkett absolutely is for a lot of reasons, but also because I'm totally blanking on her name. The podcast we talked to.
Oh, Afro Horror Pod.
Yes, Sade. About Scream 2 in the beginning and how she calls them all out on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But total underrated final girl popping up and not getting enough attention for all the work that she put in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do we have on our list, Gabe? That's on the list now. Huh?
Damned.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I didn't hear you, but then I did.
Yes. Okay. Victims and Villains just brought up Promising Young Female, which is what I thought I was listen, I'm going to put her on here, even though we haven't watched it yet. Because yes, I was reluctant to be on that bandwagon because it's can easily fall into the tropes, and I am like tentative about it, but I've heard very good things about the film and it being like a pushback against those cliche female representation of like fighting back, and so I like it. Like I remember seeing the trailer the first time, I was like, but I have high hopes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
who else is on our list?
Who's on your list, Kat?
Is it me? Okay. I have Lupita from Little Monsters, which is like a totally like weird horror movie that's just about like the zombie apocalypse if you were a teacher. And Lupita's in it. She's named Miss Caroline. And she like totally holds it down when the chaos of the world is ensuing. Like, and also like really just like, okay, so you remember New Girl? You've seen New Girl, right, Gabe? Yes, you have, because we used to live together. Remember, what was his name? He was the friend. He was, oh God.
They have a lot of friends in New Girl.
I know, but he was named after an animal or a trash can. I don't remember. He did the musical they sang about foxes.
Oh, yes. Josh.
Yes, you know who I'm talking about.
He's in Beauty and the Beast. He's in Beauty and
Yes.
the Beast.
Okay. So you know who he's in that film, and she kicks his ass, and it is so great. And she's just really ready. She holds it down for these kindergartners.
Bear
With,
Claw.
like, bear claw, thank you. It was like it was an animal or something. So yes, and he like is the worst in the movie, but like very comedically so, and like is having like a bigger tangent or tantrum than these kindergartners who are going through a zombie apocalypse. And
Mm.
she like gets so serious with him and is like fantastic. And she's also just like so badass. She's like killing zombies and like helping like keeping all these tiny children from experiencing this trauma of like zombies literally eating people in front of them on their field trips. So like she keeps them calm the whole time. And it is so and when she's murdering stuff and like when she finally gets like kind of like a win at the end and you're just like, you know what? That was dope. Good for her.
Yes. Good
She's
for
on my
her.
list twice because I also have her from Us.
Yes. Yes. Us for both roles of Adelaide and Red, because again, validated. Just like an alien and xenomorph, I am Matt. You both trying to survive. You both
Yeah.
like a result of this system. I did want to plug because we're doing this for victims and villains. Thank you guys. And this is all about hope. So even though we're talking about fighting back and being justified in our anger, there's other emotions that we have and sometimes need help with. And so if you want to see some of the cool resources, either check out the chat in Twitch or check out victimsandvillains.net/hope for some of those resources. But yes, Us, phenomenal. Lupita
Yeah.
is,
Ruby's podcast, you are so right. She should have gotten an Oscar.
yeah. Both of those characters were so unique, and like rethinking who they really are at the end too, and also talking about like getting gaslit by your partner. As much as I love Winston Duke,
Yeah.
I do. Uh, Dude, like you can't just be like, "Oh, I'm sorry you got trauma from childhood. Could you not for this weekend? Because I gotta look cool in front of my white rich friends. Like, could we not?" like,
I mean, most of the badass women of horror, one of their biggest hurdles, other than just like violence and wanting to murder people, is getting gaslit by some guy. Like the
mhm.
entire, where you're just like, can you just accept that I'm not a hysterical lady and I just know what I'm talking about and that you might be wrong? Could we,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
It's like the whole thing.
Just like consider another opinion.
Consider I have thoughts that are smart.
I wanted to throw in another controversial thing I like to stir in the pot of women who are not on this list.
They're
Women who
not.
are not saying good for her. Although it also fits really good into this whole thing. Is Danny from Midsommar. And you might be wondering, like, Cape, why? At the end, she's happy. She burns the terrible boyfriend who is super toxic. And like I get it. I get the initial like gut reaction is like good for her,
Yeah.
because you got rid of him and you have like you're going through some stuff. But it's not good for her because she's joining the cult and she's committing murder. And it's like joining this cult of very toxic people who were messing with her this whole time. And so I can't. And she should have just left him.
I would have been
Honestly,
about
I
I
don't
would
know
have
if
been
he deserved.
about the cult if they didn't murder all the people of color in the way that they did. If they for a second were just like, I get the guy who peed on the tree, like murder him. He sucked the whole time. The boyfriend sucked the whole time. But the other like three people who were people of color did not need to die. There was nothing wrong with them. Like they were just like fodder with not enough character development. And it infuriates me. So I don't like Midsummer. And we've had 2 episodes where we discuss why we hate Midsummer, but also the redemption of Midsummer and recognizing that it's entirely about white supremacy, in addition to being about a breakup.
Yeah. And like again, I do think we hate it for its representation of bipolar disorder, which is
X.
super toxic and unrealistic and just super harmful to those communities who are now seen as automatic villains. Just like that's not a reason enough. Like that's not what happens.
Yeah. It's not a default
Yeah, that's
reason to commit murder suicide. Like that shouldn't be enough, just the fact that she had bipolar.
yeah. So that is awful, but it does have a really good representation of grief, and I think understanding how traumatizing that is, and how it could really warp your understanding in reality, and how you can feel alone. And she was already feeling alone, and also like I totally related to her battles with being like, I can't tell my boyfriend all these things because he might think I'm too much. Like, because any of us who have feelings have probably felt like we're too much for someone. You're not too much. You're not too much. Maybe they're just the wrong person. So you'll find the person who does.
We got some good comments in these comments, man.
Yes.
The Descent, you are right. That was on our list.
Yes.
You are accurate.
On our list, it says the entire cast of The Descent, except for the one woman who trapped them there. Like, listen, communication, I understand you want to be famous, but you got to let people know where we at. Like, you did this to us. But yeah, the entire cast of Descent is on this list.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's like, okay, first off, you know, your friend who you invited here has gone through like intense and very real trauma, and you're going to have her, and she has claustrophobia. So you're going to not tell the cave people where you're going. What is it? Spelunking? What do they call it?
Yeah, spelunking.
You're not going to tell, you're going to tell them they're in another cave?
Yeah. Like, but my problem is like, okay, all right, maybe you tell us that we're in a different cave so that you trick us into finding a cave that no one's found so we can get our name on the map, whatever. But you at least tell the authorities where we really are so that they can come find us, because that was my problem. I was like, I understand lying to me, but don't lie to the people who can save us later.
Yeah. So wild.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, they are on the list. They are top tier. Can't see my hand. It's I keep messing up like which side.
Yeah,
but top tier.
Premiere does that. Yeah. Top tier. What I had what was I saying about women and she was pregnant? Oh, it was she. So this was on my in between list, and then led us to a whole rant when we were talking. Is I don't know if I'd give her like good for her, but I still think like you did a great job. Is the mother in Quiet Place?
Yes.
The fact that she gave birth quietly, all by herself, in the midst of incredible horror, like and fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
I do think that the real hero of that story is their daughter, who definitely kicks ass, and you know she's definitely and like fighting against the expectations or limits that were put upon her for various reasons.
She shows that despite the fact that her father the entire time is trying to like make her more disabled than she actually is, actually uses that to like kick ass and save the day.
Yeah, which is great. But just for again having a kid and that led us to Lyle, which people might not have watched, which is a really cool kind of Rosemary's Baby-esque kind of film.
It's so good.
Lesbian couple, and it features another really bad thing that also coincides with murder, but justified. It's one of those like, no, you good for her.
Yeah, she murders her partner while in child labor, like in labor. Oh, I'm sorry. I am terrible. I apologize.
Yeah,
see it.
Reveal. That's a big reveal. So just act like you didn't.
Erase that from your brain. I messed up. That wasn't. Dissociate from this conversation and for just 2 seconds and pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Who else is on your list, Kat?
I have Duke from Bit because she was right, even though she was like in the end, I guess, like kind of the villain. But if you haven't seen Bit, it's like a dope vampire LGBTQIA time that's just like absolutely fantastic. But essentially there's like some real legit patriarchy calling out things that the main character, or one of the main characters, she's not the main character, named Duke, she's like head of the Lady Vampires, and like really is just like effing it up and like doing a fantastic job and is so justified in her rage.
Mhm.
And then they try to like make it like not all men. And I'm like, why you ruin?
And not even like they didn't even pick a man that I could agree that with, you know? Like
Yeah.
they didn't even pick like a good one to use as a prop of like
Yeah.
they were like, this one also sucks, but like maybe not. Like maybe we
Yeah.
won't be mean. And it's like, we should be mean. I think mean is good.
I've never seen The Blob, so that's happening in the comments.
Yeah.
So I believe you, but I have not seen it, so I cannot give an educated opinion.
We want to watch it specifically because, as horror lovers, there's Blobfest, where they do like the reenactment and all that stuff with the theater, and so we really want to do that. We want to be a part of the shows that are lined up for that. We actually, another thing that COVID stole from us was last year we had some live shows booked, including hosting a horror burlesque locally here in Philadelphia. And so hopefully when the world's normal and people could go to shows like that, we could do that.
Yeah.
Then meantime, we can have shows like this.
I have a sexy Chucky outfit that I just really am sad that I can't wear
I mean,
outside.
you could wear it.
I know, but I can't like go outside.
Oh, yeah, you can't go outside. Very true. Another not on the list is Marie from High Tension.
Oof. Yeah. Being queer is not mental illness. Just so if anyone didn't know, it does not cause mental illness. To be gay is just fine.
Yeah.
You're just a person.
If you're a lesbian and you're in love with your friend, you probably don't want to murder her.
Or her entire
Or her
family.
family. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What a twist.
Yeah.
What a twist. It's great.
So they're just canceled. It was a fun movie until that happened.
It was fine until like I was totally fine with her just being like a killer who just kills for whatever. Like, you know, like that happens all the time. I was fine with that.
For giggles, you know.
You did not have
comedy.
to twist it. You did not have to do that twist at the end because I was like, nah.
Her being gay does not mean she's mentally unstable. This doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So, yeah, she's not on the list. It's not allowed.
Mm-mm.
Who else? I have Bex from Assassination Nation, which is like a newer film, but it's basically about a bunch. It's like basically all. Or what is the one after millennials? The young people. Zennials. It's about a bunch of Zennials who basically are dealing in this like tech-centric world of your entire life being on the internet. And then everyone's stuff is released to the world and everyone's like freaking out because they're like, oh, my internet shame, the things I didn't want people to know about, everyone knows about them. And they come after these like 4 girls who are literally just like living their Zennial lives and having a wonderful time. And there's this entire story wrapped around like this really badass girl named Bex who's trans, and like the entire thing is really stressful but wonderful, and they're just really badass. And then they, you know, spoilers, they win.
Yeah, they did that, which was really cool. And it's a great film. There's really amazing cinematography. All women just just call out everything. They like they don't hold anything back. They're just like, listen, all right,
there's
like
no
you need to stop
subtlety. It's
objectifying us. Yeah, listen, I don't agree with that person because they got, you know, called out for being gay because they're a politician who's only harmed me actively, like as a trans person, like those kinds of things. It's actually created by the creator of Euphoria, starring Zendaya, which also has a trans character and like that Gen Z kind of representation of like kids who are like just
they're so scary but so empowered.
Yeah, well, because it's like, yeah, they've gotten to the point where like we accept each other for whatever, like, you know, but the world is just so
cripplingly awful.
There's no hope. There's no hope for that, but there is hope in life. But like that's how the kids feel, and that's why they result in drugs all the time. But it's a great film, and I found from watching that film and then watching Euphoria that the director's totally it's like not in my brain his name, but really loves
Marching
school
band.
bands, like
Yeah.
marching bands is the end. Millennium Dragon, thank you for following.
Yeah.
Welcome to the conversation.
Ooh.
Lady
Lady Green Thumb Boss.
yeah.
What a fun name.
Conversation. Yes. So for people who just joined, or if you don't know, we're the Ghouls Next Door.
Yes.
We have so February we're going to be continuing our For the Culture series. Next week we're talking about Tigers Are Not Afraid. Coming up on the queue is Vampires versus the Bronx, His House, which is super emotional, and a few others. We've already covered a few really great, awesome Shudder exclusive like films that are phenomenal and break your heart in good ways. So if you want to learn more about us, you can visit theghouls.nextdoor.com.
Yeah.
We work really hard on this website. There's a blog there if you just want to read it. If you don't, but we are on YouTube at the Ghouls Next Door if you want to watch our episodes, or you can listen to them wherever you find podcasts.
Yeah.
And if you like our cool shirts that we have on, go to the Ghouls Next Door. You get it?
Get it.
To support us. Yes, that would be cool. Yes.
His House is so good. Please watch it. It's so stressed, but it's so good.
Cannot recommend enough His House, because it honestly was like the first like scary movie. Like it was like honestly creepy and like haunting, and like just spooky.
Yeah, we watch horror movies weekly for like the past 3 years. Every week we watch at least 2 horror or 1 or 2 horror movies. So it is weird that we haven't seen The Blob for that reason, because we just watched so many. But it is like the first time in a minute that both Gabe and I were like,
Yeah,
scary. What?
phenomenal.
Turn it off. Like, hide our eyes, kind of thing. Like scary.
Direction, so good. Acting amazing. It has Winmy from who is Ruby on Lovecraft Country. So again,
If you love them,
she was on our list. Good for her.
I will say our episodes are a little different than what we did here today. We wanted to kind of like, the world is stress. The world is horrific. The world is a hard time to exist in, and is worth existing in, but it is hard to do so sometimes. And sometimes that's fine. But most of the time, we're talking a lot more like seriously about these things, a lot less jokes, and a lot more like historical analysis and how that ties into the media. So if that's like your jam and you want to like learn some stuff, definitely check it out. If you want to have fun, we do have fun episodes too. But I will say our last few ones have been like very serious, talking about like violence against women in Indonesia and like genocide and other just like really heavy topics. But definitely like super interesting. And it's like really cool, honestly, how much horror as a genre like basically translates to people making their trauma into art. And like finding like a way to cope with everything that they've experienced by making a really awesome movie to help like the rest of the world understand, or just like for the people who've experienced those things to feel validated. So highly recommend our show.
Yeah, and like if you do like our fun episodes, like this time last year we were doing like our technology episode where we've done like we talked about VR, we talked about the internet.
What makes it scary?
Scary. We did the video games where it's like you die in real life. And then we also did our Mindfuck series where we talked about parallel universes with Mr. Nobody. That was parallel universes, right? We talked about time loops, like Triangle, and oh my gosh, that whole series we did.
That was very fun.
Horrors of Society, where we talked about Parasite and Snowpiercer, and we did the whole Matrix trilogy. We also usually dress up for our outfits, so if you want to see Kat as Chris Evans.
I dress up fully like Chris Evans. I look like Chris Evans. Like, I'm not saying I wish I was Chris Evans, but I was hot as Chris Evans, and everyone should go appreciate it because I worked very hard on that makeup, and I had a full beard.
Yeah. For Res Child Rambler, as an
Yes, Blood
honest
Quantum.
person, totally understand. If you haven't, if you missed out in the beginning of this episode, we talked about Blood Quantum. That is full of generational trauma, also this like emotional trauma. It's a great, it's just a great zombie film just on the show, right? And then and then on top of that, it's like, whew, it's just a good spin on the tale of like what happens when you're the only ones immune and the white people are scary, which is
Yeah,
usual.
white people are always scary.
Thank you, Sergio, recommending the show from YouTube. Uh, hello, thank you for supporting. Yeah.
He's
Uh,
also excited for your Sundance coverage because Gabe's going to be at Sundance.
Yes,
So
I'll be at Sundance covering some spooky films. But yeah, we got a lot of really cool things coming up this year, including horror anime. We're just anime, a whole month of
we're also going to have a
anime.
mental health month too.
Yeah. It yes, a whole month on mental health awareness and how it's shown in film. We're gonna do it during mental health awareness month. So good for that. I also had in my list, since we have a few more minutes, Sydney from Scream.
Yes.
Because I
Classic.
was talking to Captain Nostalgia of Victims and Villains about Wrong Turn, it reminded me of Elijah Dushku in that film. And I just remember her like, she just fought. Like she was all broken and busted up throughout that film, and she just kept going. And I loved that. And so like I haven't watched that film in a long time, but as a young person, I was like, yeah. And then I also have Asami from Audition, if you don't remember.
Oh, the audition. Takashi Miike.
Any teasers for which anime? No, we will not give you teasers.
Because we don't
Oh,
fully
we'll have
know.
guests. We are hoping, haven't booked them yet, but we have guests. So they're going to come in. I also have Jay from It Follows, just because It Follows is one of our favorite movies ever.
The whole time.
And the mom from Babadook, because she was so genuine.
Yeah, I would say like similar. I know I'm not going to ruin his house. His house is too new, so I'm not going to say anything. I was going to say a thing, but the Babadook is like about living with your trauma, and I just thought that was really cool. And
Yeah. And like the kid, like was I know he was annoying, but like kids deal with stuff. And
he was dealing with like stuff and like mental health stuff too. Like he was really just going through it. And a lot of people just were not understanding their experience or struggles and like not giving enough empathy to their experience or struggles.
mm-hmm.
And just being like, why aren't you normal? And it's like, no one is normal. Who would want that?
It's very true. Yeah. Um yeah, did you have any that you wanted to throw out there, Kat, as finishing out our list?
I did include Sadie and Michaela from Tragedy Girls just because I love Tragedy Girls. It was cool to see. Like, it has its problematic elements, but it was just cool to see two girls who would generally be like the ones running away from a murderer in a film is like actually the ones just being badass and murdering people. I don't necessarily think they were justified in their murdering, but they were just like, it was a fun time.
Well,
Uh,
like ultimately they were going to fight against the actual evil.
yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
They're like one of the reasons why I find Zennials terrifying.
Yeah. No, sometimes
they're,
kids scare me. Kids scare me for sure.
they're great, but also I feel like they'd be like, life is hard, so why not murder? Everything is trash. But it's not. Everything, lots of things are, but not everything.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been some really great conversation in the chat. We really appreciate y'all. If you do follow us, we do occasionally have watch parties. We're planning to do Blood Quantum for people who want to watch it or hear about why we love it. Then you can watch it with us. We've previously done like, First Purge and it because we want to bring the community together. Especially right now, times are real tough, and it feels even worse because we don't have our usual outlets or the people that we can usually reach out to, and so for people who are feeling those things, exponentially going worse because it seems like the world just doesn't, have a light. There is, and we can find ways like this to stay connected and to learn and to hear from each other, and to, find something to keep us entertained or distracted for the time being until we can go outside again, to say the least.
Yeah. Yes, definitely follow on Facebook for victims of villains who are going to announce their next watch party. I want to watch things. That sounds really fun. Because all we watch is horror movies, so sometimes it's okay to not watch horror movies because the world is already so horrific. It's just like, sometimes you just want to laugh. Sometimes you want to cry. Sometimes you want to watch anime.
That's why I watch Korean dramas, because it's
Yeah.
like the trouble in it is so minimal. It's like it's
Just
not
quirky
really a
and
big
fun.
deal. It's just like communication, like people should talk to each other, and so I could just like sit there and watch them figure out their emotions, and it's not it's not affecting me. I could just love them, and that's fun for me. Does anyone in our chat before we sign off have any final girls
Questions.
or villains or ladies that we feel like good for her?
Or just like questions about life. It's okay if no. We did just put you on the spot.
It's like, uh, uh, do you have any? Yeah, I
I
guess
feel like this is like the end of any meeting I've ever had where they're like, "Do you have any questions?" And I'm like, "No, I just want to sign off and go be introverted again."
yeah,
I have no questions.
this time last year we would have like we were already doing like live shows and stuff. So this is like our first time in a long time that we were able to do that, where we get to talk to people and do our show. And again, it's a little different from what our show usually is. We break up our show into facts and then the films, and so we do our background for like, why are we saying this is scary? Because sometimes we cover films that are not inherently horror.
Yeah.
The topic is scary.
Elizabeth Moss in Invisible Man is badass, but we hate Invisible Man as a film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if we have enough time to fully explain why, but it is one of our top least favorite
I
movies.
didn't like her at the end. I didn't like it. It didn't feel like a win.
But we respect
Also,
your opinion.
not a great representation of people of color is another one that was like, we're gonna help you out. You win. But I liked the premise, and that's what got me hooked at the beginning, and so it let me down and made me sad.
Yeah.
Because the ending just was like but I get it. She did fight back, and it was
It's
again,
good.
it was nice. But the lean on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was trying to find. I totally like missed my notification of who was up after us, and now I feel bad.
It's okay. But yeah, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. We hope that you have a lovely evening, that you watch other things and say words then.
After
I
Mose.
don't get unscripted words.
Yeah. After us is Mose. Again, you can visit us at ghoulsnextdoor.com. Follow us on Twitter, Ghouls Next Door, where we're like tweet and talk to people, kind of expressing ourselves there. Instagram is Ghouls Next Door. We try to make them all the same, but Twitter didn't let us. For whatever reason. So stay tuned for Moe's. They're coming up after us. I believe they're playing
Super Smash Brothers.
playing Super
Do
Smash
it.
Brothers. It's fun. And there's like a whole bunch of other programs, and this continues on through tomorrow. So check out the list to see what is coming up. And, we'll be chiming in, checking out things as they're going. And we hope you had a really good time chatting with us about those badass women who were like totally in the right to do the things that they did.
Good for her.
Good for her. Yeah. With that being said,
don't get married.
Delete your kids.
Which is our tagline. Why? I don't know. Listen to us. You'll find out.
Occasionally we explain it. I don't feel like doing that now.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm gonna...
Nice.